thinking about moving to St. Louis, Missouri, you are in luck. We've got ShariWhay right here beside me. Say hello to everybody, Shari.
Hi, everyone.
From St. Louis, Missouri, and we're going to talk to her in a second about St. Louis. But before we do that, and I didn't tell you we were going to do this, Shari, but we're going to start it off. You would know if you watched a couple episodes. Some of them had this in it, some of them didn't. But we're going to ask you a question. So pick a number between 1 and 350, and this question has nothing to do with anything. I just Googled 350 funny questions. So give me a number.
185.
185. All right. All right. Whoa, no, that wasn't it. All right. What's the most frustrating product you own? Interesting. What's the most frustrating product you own?
Well, right now, I am going to have to say my iPhone only because I am trying to learn how to edit videos, and it is challenging for me. So,
what are you using to edit on it? Are you using the
I've
native
tried
editor?
CapCut. What did you say?
Are you using the one that comes on it or something else?
I've been trying to use InShot and CapCut, and the problem I had is the first video I made, I did horizontal, and I was trying to get it to fit on Instagram, and the person I interviewed was too far apart, so it just became very frustrating. So I learned, and yeah. So anyway, I would say my iPhone.
So video technology, and we were talking before we came on air about it a little bit. You're trying to up your
just
video
trying to figure
game.
it all out. Yeah.
Nice. That's a good answer. Good way to roll with the punches there. This is Want to Move There. Now we'll get into the show giving everybody the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to a different area. Today we're talking about St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, Derek Bicksler, realtor of 15 years right here in Harrisburg, central Pennsylvania. Hit me up in the comments, hit us up in the comments and say hello if you know one of us, say where you're watching from, ask questions about St. Louis, Missouri, and if we don't see it while we're going here, we will come back and address your questions, comments later. Because it's a little thing that dings up in the corner and I usually don't see them. So we will come back and do it later. Reminder to check out the replays on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. Did I put Stitcher? Stitcher's my podcast player of choice. Nobody else seems to use it, but for Android, Stitcher is mine of choice. So it's everywhere, wherever you like to get your content. It'll be sitting there waiting for you. And now, without further ado, we will bring in ShariWhay, realtor in St. Louis, Missouri. Say hello to everybody again and tell, while I look for your bio, tell everybody the last movie that you watched.
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me this question too. So I watch a movie pretty much almost every night before I go to bed. I'm a big Netflixer, so it's very hard for me to remember what I've watched because I feel like I watched so many. The one that I was watching the other night, I kind of stumbled upon. It was a foreign movie called Body and Soul. I didn't finish it, but it was very interesting. These two people had the same dream one night, and inevitably their souls are tied together. I have not yet finished it, so I do not know how it ends. But that was the last movie I watched. I'm not really into big action movies or anything. I like the more independent, smaller films. So that's more of what I watch.
So is that a love story? Is that a man and a woman that their souls
it wasn't starting out like a love story, but from the trailer, it looked like it might go that direction. They worked at a beef plant together. That's why I couldn't finish it.
It
was very graphic. They were showing like the cows like in line and then getting decapitated. And I mean, it was a lot. And so that is part of why I couldn't finish it, because it was right before bed and it was a little more that I needed to know.
Yeah, somebody had an agenda when they were making that movie. We need to show everybody what's happening. All right, well, that's cool. So you like Netflix. I was just listening to a podcast today with Bill Maher on it, and he said he likes to fall asleep every night watching at least an hour of TV because the guests or the hosts were saying, you probably read all the time. And he's like, I do read a lot, but I fall asleep to Netflix every night. And I have to admit, I do too. I'll go with comedy all day long, probably.
Yeah,
not action either.
Depends. I mean, and I do like watching Stephen Colbert also, but lately I've just been trying to catch up on some, just little movies that are little hidden gems. That's what I searched for in Netflix, hidden gems, to see what came up.
Oh, yeah, nice. Sometimes the ones I find on there, they're putting a lot of foreign ones on there now, which is
They are.
fine. But when when
You
the
have to be
voice
in the
doesn't
mood.
match the mouth, I'm
Yeah, I
not
can't
down
do
with it.
it. I can't do it. I'm with you. I'm with you. And of course, I watched Inventing Anna, and that was really good. And I was watching Anatomy of a Scandal last night. That was what I was watching.
Ooh, so you
With
like drama? It's probably
Sandra
it's
Blair.
suggesting drama to you all the time, probably.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to fix that.
You have to actively
I have to
search out the
actively
other stuff.
find things. Yeah.
So I got your bio up here. I think now I lost it. You grew up in Southern California, so not in St. Louis, pretty far from St. Louis, Southern California. You put in parentheses here, Valley Girl, and then you went to Southern Oregon, Grants Pass. That's where that was the name of the town in Southern Oregon?
It's 52 miles from the California border. So what
Okay,
happened?
so still.
Yeah, it's when when they I guess it was the late 70s when they started busing in Los Angeles. We moved because there was a lot of issues that were going on in the high school that I was supposed to go to. So anyway, so my parents decided that we needed to move, and they took me out of the San Fernando Valley. I lived in Sherman Oaks, and they put me in a little town of 52,000 people.
So were you gagging yourself with a spoon when you were in Southern California?
It was hard. I have to tell you, there was one movie theater, and the big night out was like the buffet dinner. But I will say it was a cute little town. And since I've grown up, I have gone back to visit it. There's a river that runs through the town called the Rogue River, and John Wayne movies used to be made there. And I would definitely Google it. It's one of the most beautiful places ever. And being that you like the outdoors and camping and all whitewater raft, it's gorgeous. Like, so when my kids were little, later on, so I lived in, I'll kind of do this. So I lived in Grants Pass, and then I knew I wanted to go to Ohio State. And so I moved to Ohio my senior year in high school.
Why did you know you wanted to go to Ohio State?
I just always knew I wanted to go to a football school, and I didn't really want to go back to California.
Penn State would have been better, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, so my whole family is from Ohio, and so I wanted to be with my cousins and my aunts and uncles. And so the Ohio State University is like 2 hours from Akron, where I'm from. So I really wanted to go there. So lived in Akron and then went to Columbus for school, and then moved to Cleveland. And I liked Cleveland, but there was something about it that I didn't like. And it really took me a long time to figure out that it was the California girl in me that didn't like Cleveland. It was just, I think the houses were like too traditional. There weren't as many like cool mid-century, just the things I grew up with that to me weren't different, but in Cleveland, everything had black shutters and an eagle above the garage. And it's just very different from what I was used to. And it was very, very cold. And I just would say to my husband, we can live anywhere in the world. Why are we living in Cleveland, Ohio? And a job opportunity came up from him, and we moved to Portland, Oregon. And we were there for almost 10 years, and it was amazing. And I still kick myself that we left. We loved it. But then a job opportunity came up in St. Louis, better schools, closer to our families, because he is also from Cleveland. So we decided to move to St. Louis. And here I am.
So what did your parents do? Why did you? So it sounds like your parents' family. Is it your mom and your dad? Both their family is from Ohio?
My parents are divorced. Yeah, they are both from Ohio, but my parents got divorced. So my mom's family is the one that was from Ohio. So she moved back with me and my sister, and she just got a new job, and we just made a new life in Ohio.
Gotcha. But why were you in California? Why were you a Valley girl in the first place?
Because my dad and my mom, when I guess it was about 3.5, 4, he didn't really like Ohio, and he wanted to move to California. And so before I started school, we picked up and moved to Encino.
Yeah, lots of people think the grass is greener out west or something, and it kind of is, I guess. Portland sounds pretty appealing, or Colorado or California or anything.
The Pacific Northwest is beyond amazing. Like, I miss it every day, every single day. Yeah. It is beautiful.
I also know a lot of people that go out there and end up coming right back here to central Pennsylvania to raise their family for whatever reason. I don't know why it is, but
yeah.
Yeah, just like you
every place has their issues. Let's just say that. Every place.
Yeah, totally. I've done a few relocations from California in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to high school. We talked about that. You went to Ohio State. Do they say the Ohio State University?
It's the Ohio State University. Yes.
Okay. And we're at Penn State here, so I'm obligated to be enemies with you, but we'll be friends for the podcast. And I couldn't care less about sports, but I'm still obligated to be a Penn State fan. You went to college at the Ohio State University for organizational communications. Your favorite color is purple. Thank God you didn't say blue. People must be catching on. The first 30 episodes were all blue.
Oh, really? No, I've always
we've
been
had a
into
couple
purple.
purples. Is that what you wear, or is that just like the one you chose?
I think
as
it's
a kid
just a happy
that
color for me. You know how you're just drawn to certain colors. Mine seem to be the more like spice colors, so it's like a warmer purple. It's not like almost like eggplant, I guess you would say.
Sure. Yeah. I like that one. Almost the Google Forms color for all the Google heads out there.
Right?
Like, what? It's a purple. Maybe not quite as dark as you're talking about. But and then your favorite food is Asian. You love Asian food. What do you like? Lo mein, stir fry, hibachi?
No, so I love Thai food. In fact, I had Thai food on Sunday night. There's just something about that coconut milk that just makes me go crazy. I'm not a pad Thai girl. I like mansaman beef curry. I think pad Thai to me is like your basic Thai food, so I don't really do that. I love sushi. I love Vietnamese food a lot, and I just love it. I think it, like, especially on cold nights, like if you have ramen or pho, it just seems to like warm your soul. Like it just fills you in a different way. So I like it, and I like cilantro, and I know a lot of people hate cilantro, but I do like the cilantro, so I think that's part of it too. But
yeah, I feel you. Asian food is somewhat of a comfort food for some reason. I don't know why.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
What's your go-to sushi roll?
My go-to sushi roll. Dang. I say, I am kind of a less is more. So I usually get that shirashi, which is just the bowl of rice with a bunch of cut up. It's almost like chef's selection, and they just put some raw fish on there. I love yellowtail. I like tuna, anything with tuna in it. There's one sushi restaurant that I go to that makes a lobster roll that is just like insanity. And they also make a vegetarian version. So if I'm in my tofu mood, I just get the vegetarian version, and it's also very good.
Huh. So it's like sashimi on like a bed of rice, kind of?
Yeah, at this one restaurant that I go to, the lobster roll is more just like a big roll. And if you get that, you don't need anything else because it's just an enormous roll. Yeah. I haven't had that in a while.
You don't have any... What?
I said I haven't had it in a while. Maybe now I have to go get it.
It sounds good. I don't eat meat, but lobster roll does sound good, and I do eat sometimes. And if I ate seafood, it would probably be lobster or something similar to that. You don't have any pets. Did you ever have any pets? Dogs, cats?
I did. I had a little Shih Tzu. Her name was Stella, and I named her after Seinfeld, that scene with Elaine when she was on the back pills, and they're at the condo, the parents' condo association thing, and she's just running through going, Stella, so whatever. So I thought it was like, it was a good name. Like if I had to yell at the dog, like Stella was a good name. So anyway, so we had her for about 13 years, and I had to put her down last year. So I'm debating about getting a new dog, but life is a realtor. I'm just trying to figure out how that's going to work. So I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, and it's kind of liberating. It's sad, and that in itself, when I lost my dog, I don't want to ever have a dog just because of that. I don't want to go through losing a dog again. But also, you get used to no hair, can go on vacation, don't have to worry about anything.
Right. And my daughter went to college last year, so now I'm an empty nester. So literally, it's just me that I have to take care of. So it's a lot, do I want to take care of something else? It's really how I've been thinking about. I think I will eventually do it. I just don't think I'm going to do it right now. But I really want a Cavapoo. I think they're so cute. It's like half King Charles Cavalier and half poodle. And they're in this apricot color, and sometimes they have these cute little white spots, and they're fluffy and light, and they're not, I don't really want a big dog, so they're like between 20 and 25 pounds, it's like the perfect size for me. I don't like when dogs breathe on me. Like big dogs aren't my thing. And I slobber. My girlfriend has a Mastiff and it drools on me all the time. And it's just gross. Like sorry if anyone out there likes Mastiffs.
Somebody needs to figure out a way to solve that problem.
An animal that drools on you.
No, I don't. I need a hypoallergenic. Doesn't.
Yeah,
roll,
like I'm
doesn't,
too clean. I can't deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do I like big dog. Like I would love a Mastiff, but I wouldn't get one just for that simple fact that I'm not dealing with shoestrings ill.
Yeah,
that's gross. I don't even like my kids slobber on
I
me.
know. It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So enjoy your petless life for a little while here.
I will. Maybe I'll just
help
get a
yourself.
cat. They're easy.
Yeah, there you go. And then you do have kids. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. 26, 22, and 20. You're not married, and your hobbies are hiking, cooking, reading, spending time with your kids and friends. Hiking, St. Louis. We'll talk about that when we get to that part. Cooking. What do you like to cook?
So I used to love baking, and before my divorce, I was doing a lot of baking, and I was actually getting very good at it, like making more complicated things. But I love having people over, and I like comfort food, almost like gourmet comfort food. I just think there's love that goes into cooking, and I like setting a nice table and having people over, and everyone likes good food, right? And so I won't say I do anything crazy, but I just I just enjoy the whole process, just watching it, transform. And when it comes out and it looks good, it tastes good. I eat a lot of fish and a lot of chicken, mostly fish. I'm a big fish eater. Every now and then I have to have a steak, but I'm mostly I eat fish.
So you said baking. Are we talking like cakes and pies and like dessert stuff, or like casseroles?
No, I like cookies. I love cakes. So I'm Jewish, and I like learning how to make all the old traditional things like rogala and babka. And my mom never really taught me that, so it was kind of teaching myself how to do it. And when it comes out and it tastes like it does from the bakery, it's very exciting. But what happened was I would spend all day in the kitchen. Like I make challah like Mia on Fridays, and my kids loved it, but they never ate anything that I baked for dessert. Even if anything like cookies or whatever, the first day they'd have a couple, and I just kept throwing things away. So then I decided not to spend as much time baking because I wasn't eating it, and then it was just more the fun of doing it. And the house smells good, and I don't know. It's like having your own little Food Network channel in the kitchen, right? You frost the cake really nice. It comes out good, tastes good. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect thing. You could make some batter, and then at your next open house, you could bake the cookies there for the good smell at the open house. So it smells
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. I have one on Sunday, and I haven't done that forever, and I was thinking about doing something like that. Or
it's one of those old tricks that I had a seller that did it, and so before the market was crazy, so I had to do a couple open houses. But before I would come, she always had just baked cookies, that she left out for people to have while they came in, and it always smelled so good. And I think people like it. I would rather have that smell than that you go into some open houses and agents have like candles burning.
Or that poison that everybody the plug-in things.
Oh my God.
It's literally poison. I have to leave the house.
It is so strong.
I don't use perfumes. I literally live like chemical free somewhat.
Right.
And after you do that, that's when you realize how much poison people are walking around breathing in. It's on their body. There's a couple people in my office.
Yeah, it's so strong.
In my office that walk around when they come to the office. I have to literally leave because the whole place ends up smelling like them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's offensive, frankly. I don't want to smell you good or bad. Everybody should smell benign, like nothing.
Right. No, I always think they're hiding something. When you walk in and it's like that really strong smell, it's like, what don't they want me to smell?
Right. Now it just smells like cat smoke and poison.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So good. Good for
obvious.
You. Baked cookies way better. And yes. I saw somebody one time they boiled cinnamon sticks and apples.
Oh, that's
and they
just
put it on like a light simmer, and it was delightful.
And I've been to a couple where they've had like essential oil those little burners going, and that's not bad either. But it doesn't cover as large of an area. Like when you walk into a house and it smells like baked cookies or whatever, you just feel like you're home. Like it really does trigger something.
Yeah, makes you hungry too, for
Makes
sure.
you hungry, right?
And then I'll point out you did not say the movie that you put in here on the questionnaire, which was Belfast. What's Belfast?
Oh, Belfast. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I filled out that form 3 months ago.
True.
So Belfast, it was up for an Academy Award. It may have even won. It was really good. I saw it in the movie theater, and it was about oh my gosh, the fights that used to go on in Ireland with the crown, and I don't even know, but they don't battle anymore.
William Wallace and all that stuff.
I know. It was a very good movie, actually. It was a very good movie. I would recommend that. I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the period pieces, so I might have to check
Yeah,
that out.
I love it. Was really good. You'll like it. It's good.
And now we'll get into St. Louis and talk about St. Louis. And if I can figure out how to share my screen, I had it already. There we go. So we'll start by showing everybody where the heck St. Louis is. And I will admit, I didn't really know exactly either. I'm suck at geography, just like everybody else.
I know.
So here's our handy dandy Google Globe for anybody watching from all over the world. And St. Louis is almost center of the country, a little bit to the right, and it's right on the border. And
Right below
is it
Illinois.
actually, does it exist in 2 states?
So East St. Louis is on the other side of the river, and that's the Mississippi River, and that is Illinois.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm having deja vu right now, and I didn't know that St. Louis, because I've done Kansas City, and Kansas City, right, sits on a border of 2 cities, I think, of 2 states. So I just had deja vu, and I'm thinking now, and I did 2 episodes with 2 people for that city. I was like, am I doing the 3rd episode on the same city? But I don't think I am.
Yeah, Kansas is right over. Yeah, there's Kansas City, and Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. All right, so we know where it is now, right on the border of Illinois and Missouri. You can see it there. It is 53 degrees right now, and we're in Mayish right now, 53 degrees. It's about 53 degrees here in central Pennsylvania. What time zone are you there?
We are in the Central Time Zone.
Central Time Zone, so that would be 1 hour behind us in Pennsylvania. I used to read the quick facts from the Wikipedia blurb, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So now that everybody knows where it is, I'll pull my thing off here, and you can start telling us about what it's like to live there as far as the weather goes. So are you in a valley there? Are you in mountainous? Is it flat? Tell us a little bit about what it looks like in the weather.
Yeah, so they consider St. Louis kind of basically like on bluffs above the Mississippi River. So back in the day, prairies. On the north border of St. Louis, we have the Missouri River, and the south, like the southern border, is Merrimack. So we're surrounded by these 3 rivers. The weather. So it gets very hot and humid. I will tell you, when we first moved here, coming from the Pacific Northwest, where you really didn't have any humidity, it was very low. And then to come here where there's days where it's 80% plus, I would walk the dog and I would have to shower. And then 2 hours later, I'd walk the dog and I would have to shower again. I have gotten used to it. So to me, it's not as insufferable, I guess, as it was when we first moved here. It does get very hot and humid. July and August can be, very, very warm. We do get, so the way that we're located, they kind of consider it like Tornado Alley, I guess. So we do get some extreme weather from all the fronts that come from, Canada or from the West. So that always seems to affect us. So we have some snow in the winter. Some winters it's just cold and it barely snows. This past year, we had a couple really good snow dumps. And it just might be 2 or 3 days. It's not, consistent every day type thing. So we do have damp winters, and our winters tend to start a little later. Like we have a really pretty fall season. October is gorgeous here with the leaves turning, and it's usually warm. We have a long, I guess you would call it Indian summer, and sometimes even up to Thanksgiving, it could be 70, 80 degrees. You just never know. So, we have some crazy weather. And like the spring right now has been very wet. We've had a lot of rain this year. But the sun's out today. We're getting more rain on Friday, but it just adds, like when we lived in the Pacific Northwest too, I think it just adds to the lushness, with hiking, right? You go through and the ferns and the moss and so I'm all good with it because I just know it's going to be really pretty later.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, without the moisture, you can't have all the lushness, and then it also makes the sunny days better. And it looks like I'm looking on bestplaces.net. Look up like the average snowfall and stuff, and you have an average of 15.5 inches per year, and the national average is 27, almost twice that. So it's not like you're getting crazy amounts of snow.
Yeah, it's really not. And sometimes it's adjusting. Yeah, it's really not that bad. And then we do get a lot of tornadoes. Or I would say warnings and watches. They usually hit the outskirts of St. Louis, but in the fall we were getting tornado warnings, which was kind of unusual. And I live in the city, and we were getting the tornado warning in the city. And I will say I was kind of freaking out because I just couldn't even imagine what it would be like if a tornado hit the city. So we do
these
have
are like twisters that people could see, like visually.
Well, so a few years ago, there was a big one that hit St. Louis, kind of over by the airport, and there was a lot of damage that was done. Usually, it's more the outskirts of the suburbs that are further out, where it's more open. But yeah, they do happen. There was a Joplin, Missouri, a few years ago. I don't know if you remember that one being on the news, but a whole city was flattened, or a good portion of it was hit pretty hard. So yeah, we do get our tornadoes. And back to the humidity, there's a town here called Hannibal that Mark Twain is from. So I always, when it gets really hot and humid, I can always relate to the Mark Twain books they made us read in school, and it just feels that swampy and moist, and the Mississippi River, like I'm living in a Mark Twain novel.
Yeah, all those rivers and everything, maybe that's why it's so moist and the air gets really humid. And I also see the elevation, it says is 466 feet. I guess that's above sea level. And the average in the United States is 2,443. So it's like 2,000 feet below the rest of the country. I wonder if that has anything to do with tornadoes, because Kansas is right next to you kind of there, and that's tornadoes too, right?
I don't know.
Huh. And then sunny days, you're on par, 202 days per year. The average is 205 days in the United States. You got a high of like 90-ish degrees and a low of about 21-ish, 22 degrees. So everything seems about average there. Tornadoes are a little bit out of the ordinary for some. We don't have tornadoes here, I don't think, for the most part. Any other natural disasters or anything happening? No earthquakes, right?
So because of the way the rivers are, we do have, some floodplains, I would say. In Chesterfield, which is a suburb, probably about 25 minutes outside of the city, at one point, I think it was in the 90s, it was before I moved here, there was a big flood, but the Army Corps of Engineers came in and redid it all, and now it's a big shopping area, entertainment area. You would never know. But there's certain areas when clients are looking for houses that before I send it, I always have to click on the floodplain tab in Marist to make sure that it's not in the floodplain, so that if it is, I can just, let them know it's in the floodplain as I send it. But so yeah, it just depends. And the thing that's funny about St. Louis is our weather. The weather's kind of unpredictable. Like the forecasters will tell us a snowstorm's coming, and everyone panics and goes to the grocery store and buys milk and eggs and just like all this food, thinking they're never going to be able to leave their houses again. And then it doesn't happen. And then the times that I'm like, all right, I'm not going to listen to them, then we get the big dump. Because I'm not going to be the one that goes and buys milk and bread.
Huge snowstorm coming. This weather forecast sponsored by Whole Foods.
Right.
So everybody go out and buy milk right now.
It's really funny, actually.
Yeah, and then it never is as bad as it was, as they say.
Right, but they just get you so worked up, and sometimes our MoDOT, which is the Missouri Department of Transportation, sometimes they're on it and they get the roads salted and they're prepared. But there's been a number of times where the weathermen have been saying ice is coming, and then the ice comes and we're not ready for it, and then you're in your house for a couple of days waiting for the ice to melt away and let them do their magic with the salt.
So you are ready for snow. It snows that much enough that you have plows and salts, and that whole routine
and I feel like this year they did a good job. I felt like this year they were really on it, because we got dumped on a couple times pretty big for us, and the roads weren't bad. Being that I'm in the city, they do all the main roads, so some of the side streets don't get done. So I don't really always know what's going on outside in the world, because I'm afraid to leave because it's so icy. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot. It's like a day here, a day there. It's not like I'm locked in the house for weeks, but yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good segue into the commute and the roads and all that kind of stuff. So what's the infrastructure like there? Are there any major roads that everybody's using? I see a 70 and a 270 and looks like
so
270 is like a beltway.
Yeah, so 270 is our outer beltway. It's probably one of the larger freeways. 70 kind of goes across the state. So I have one child in Kansas City. I have one child in Columbia, Missouri, going to the University of Missouri. And then my other son is in Columbus, Ohio, and I can get to any of them on 70.
Is that a toll road?
No. No. And then we have 44, which runs the 44 corridor that runs east and west.
And then what does, say if somebody's living outside of the city and they're commuting into the city, where would people be living? How long does it take them to get there on average?
So that, it kind of depends. So if they are like in St. Charles County, it's probably going to take them to get downtown with traffic anywhere from, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes. It could be sooner. You just never know if there's that car on the side of the road type thing. If they live out in the suburbs heading west, which would be like Wildwood or Chesterfield, from Chesterfield, easily 30 it's even further out, and sometimes doesn't really have the highway access. So you have to go down a main road just to get to the highway. So it's considerably longer the further you get out. But some people do it, because you get a lot of house for your money in newer houses, obviously, when you go outside of the city. So some people like that.
Yeah, and some people like that seclusion. I am one of them, so I'd be down for one of those. And then what about, are there any roads that are like, avoid this road at all costs? Like here in Central PA, I-81 is like a death trap. It's the highway that always gets backed up, and it always has the accidents and everything.
Yeah,
is there anything that you're like, do not use that one, or don't buy a house right on that road?
No, I mean, 270 pretty much before COVID, and I've noticed lately it's happening again, but pretty much really anytime after about 3:30 gets pretty backed up. So I do warn people about that when they're, depending on where they work and where they live, if they're going to have to deal with 270, I let them know about that. 44 tends, I feel like, always has accidents, and there's always lanes closed. So that would just be another one that I would just give them a heads up, to let them know.
Then what about public transportation? Are there planes and not planes, we'll talk about that separately. Are there trains and buses?
So there's an Amtrak station in Kirkwood and also downtown. So that can take you to Chicago. I've never done it, but there is the Amtrak station. And we have Metrolink, which is, it goes, I never go on it. We're not a big public transportation city. The only time I take the Metrolink is if I'm going to like a Cardinals game, which is down in the city, or maybe a concert, and I don't want to drive, and everybody else on the Metrolink is also going down. So, there's a lot of people, so it feels okay. So the Metrolink. So this isn't the type of city that you would move to and not have a car, unless you worked in the area that you lived in and just, wanted to ride your bike or whatever. I had a woman that was relocating here, actually from Pennsylvania, and she was adamant that she didn't have a car. She didn't want to have to buy a car, and she wanted a loft, and she wanted this, and she wanted that, and like there was just no way I could make it happen for her. So she didn't take the job.
Oh, wow.
She ended up staying in Pennsylvania, but she was going to have to buy a car. So So it just
She must have been in Philly or something, because pretty much
Yeah,
everywhere
that's
else in
different. And
Pennsylvania,
this was
you're
like
buying a car.
3 years ago. Yeah. So she was a really nice lady, but I just couldn't. I couldn't, bring her what she wanted because it didn't exist. And I think, she really just did not want to buy a car. She was really adamant about that. So
Yeah, well, if that's your bag. Do what you got to do.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you at least have the minimal amount for the people that you can't just can't afford a car or need some way to get around to get to
We have
work
a
or
good bus.
something.
We have the bus system, obviously.
It's just not a subway tower, or a place like
No.
New York City or Philly or something
No.
where a lot of people live without a car,
Right.
Which is like a lot of places. And
Right.
I've talked to a couple of places actually that they just had nothing. I was like, they're like, yeah, we don't have any buses or trains or anything. So we
No.
still have that.
Yeah.
And said place, I won't say where it was, didn't even have Ubers. I was like, well, you got Uber, so you're
Oh,
good.
wow.
She
Yeah,
was
we've
like,
got,
nope,
definitely have the
nobody even
Ubers.
does Uber. All right,
That's
and then
like,
what are
that's
the
like trying to
major?
live without Starbucks. I mean, I don't go to
Yeah.
Starbucks every day anymore, but I had a cousin one time that moved to a town in Illinois and there was no Starbucks, and I just couldn't wrap my head around there not being a coffee shop. Like how is that a possibility? I wouldn't exist.
It's only a matter of time till there is one, or
Right. I'm sure there is now. Yeah, it was a while ago.
I'm sure there's a Dunkin' or something too. Dunkin', I think, sells the most cups of coffee on the planet or something like that.
Oh wow.
And then what employs everybody? What businesses are in St. Louis?
So we actually have some big industry here. So we have Bayer, which used to be Monsanto. So they're the people who have modified our food. Edward Jefferson's.
Did they change their name because everybody?
Because
Because
Bayer
I definitely know
bought
the
them out.
Monsanto name.
Yeah, no, Bayer bought them out. We have Edward Jones Investments. Obviously Anheuser-Busch. We have Boeing, Express Scripts, Worldwide Technology, Panera is from here. We call it St. Louis Bread Co. We don't call it Panera. So if you ever come to St. Louis and someone says, do you want to go to Bread Co., they mean Panera. But we don't call it that. See, there's Purina, the Barnes Jewish Hospital Healthcare System's pretty huge. The Mercy Hospital System's big. Gray Bar, did I say Gray Bar? Yeah.
What about government?
Enterprises.
Is St. Louis the capital? Is something else the capital?
Jefferson
Okay.
City. Yeah.
And then what about military? Any military bases or anything like that?
There is Scott Air Force Base, but that's in Illinois. It's on the other side.
And what about colleges? Is there a St.
We have a
Louis
lot of
or
colleges. So we have Washington University. We have University of Missouri St. Louis. We have St. Louis University, which is a really good private school. Maryville University, Webster University. There's another one called Fontbonne. And then we have, I guess you would call them some parochial colleges, like if you wanted to become the priest, or we have a lot of those too.
Oh, like seminaries?
Seminaries. Thank you. I don't know the words. Sorry.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of it. Yeah. So we have several of those. And then about an hour and a half away, we have University of Missouri.
Gotcha. And then you have sports too, right? You have the what?
We have
Cardinals?
sports. We have the Cardinals. We have the Blues. And we got our first soccer team, Major League Soccer team. I think I'm not a sports fan. I forgot what their name. Oh my God, like St. Louis City, or I don't know. I can't remember the name, but we have it's not open yet. They're just about to. If they didn't do it last week, they're just about to open the seats where people can start buying.
And what are the Blues? What is that? What
Hockey.
sport's that?
Hockey.
Hockey.
And Blues fans.
Why'd
are the
they
best.
name it the blue? The Cardinals are red. It should be like stick with the state color.
I don't know.
No?
And, if I was a real Blues fan, I could tell you the story. But when I got divorced, sports weren't on in my house anymore. And it's just, if I go to a game, I'm totally into it. I just don't make the time to sit and watch it on TV unless it's an Ohio State football game, because it's just fun. But so for the sports fans
Especially if you
out
cut the cord, because I have Hulu and Netflix. I don't even watch regular TV, so it's not even on my radar. The Super Bowl was literally happening, and I was like, "Oh, the Super Bowl's today." I don't.
Well, I'll watch the Super Bowl, and I used to love the NBA. I think it's changed. It's very rigged. I think so. It's not fun. I think if you're going to watch basketball, college basketball is way more fun to watch. And, sometimes I honestly even like watching golf. It does put me to sleep because, well, now they've changed it where they help you see where the ball is going. But it used to be like you'd watch them hit and then the ball would just disappear into the, like if there was haze and like you just had to wait till it landed to even see where it was going. But golf can be fun to watch sometimes. But I prefer to be there and with the excitement with all the fans, and then I'm into it. I'm paying attention. But yeah, I just don't really watch it on TV.
Yeah, hockey can be good too. I don't even like hockey, but I'll if somebody invites me to a hockey game, I might.
Oh my God, the Blues games are so much fun. The Blues fans are awesome. It is so much fun. The first time I went, I was blown away because I thought the Cardinals games were fun, but the Blues take it to a whole other level. And yeah, there's a lot of love for the Blues in the city. It's really fun.
Awesome. So let's talk about what else there is to do. Obviously, we said, what is that? The Cardinals, that's baseball. The Blues, that's hockey. You said a soccer team. Is there a football team or minor league baseball or any of that?
The football team is, we don't talk about that because they went to Los Angeles. The Rams went to Los Angeles and there was a huge lawsuit and people are super bitter about that. So we don't really we don't talk about football.
What's the lawsuit?
It was just the way it all went down. And the owner was making all these demands on the city. And just kind of picked up and left. And after some agreements were done, and it just wasn't good. And again, I don't know all the details because it's not my world, but people are still upset about it, especially with them being in the Super Bowl this year. It was a big thing who you're going to root for. And then St. Louis University has the Bilkins, the basketball team, and a lot of people follow them also. So I should just mention that. But what is
where would a concert be? What would that be, in the hockey or the soccer place?
So concerts are at the Enterprise Center. Enterprise Rent-A-Cars out of St. Louis. That was a bad one to forget. Oops.
A lot of people probably go there then too, because don't Enterprise people, you pretty much, to work for them, you got to go wherever they send you around the country.
Actually,
and at some point you end up
They keep
there.
changing the name. It could be Scott Trade now. I don't know. But anyway, so where the Blues play, I'm blanking. It's where the Blues play is where, like, Bon Jovi was just there last week. So that's where the big concerts happen. And then in Maryland Heights, we have the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. So that's like our outdoor theater, So I just bought my lawn pass there, so I get to go to concerts all summer with my friends and sit on the grass, and I'm so excited. There's some good bands coming.
That's cool. Plug that. How much does that cost?
It was $199, and you get to go to every concert, and you just sit on the lawn. So I get to see like all the country, the country people that are coming. The Avett Brothers are coming. The Lumineers are coming. Dead and Company, which is like my favorite band, they're coming. And
that's like the Grateful Dead.
It's just so much fun. It's just fun.
Do you like fish?
I don't like fish. I just like the Grateful Dead.
You're a purist.
Well, I've just been listening to them for so long, and now my kids are into it. It's really kind of fun, actually. And so two of my kids they were here last summer, and two of my kids went with me last summer, and then they're coming with me again this summer. Nice. It's, I have Sirius radio. It's on in my car all the time. I never change the channel. And it's not even that I'm listening to it. It's just it doesn't annoy me, and I never have to change it because the song's bugging me. I mean, if it's drums and bass, sometimes I turn it down because I'm not in the mood for that. But overall, I never change it. And I didn't realize over the years that my kids were like literally learning all the songs. And so it was cute when we went to the concert last year. I didn't think my daughter, she's 20, I didn't think she'd really know that many songs. And she was right on it. It was kind of cute, actually. It was fun.
Yeah, and these days old stuff seems to be in. Like I was watching Saved by the Bell with my daughter the other day, and all the clothes, it could be modern, it could be happening right now. All the clothes are back in.
Yeah, it's all back. Yep, exactly. It's kind of
It's crazy. Well, that sounds like an awesome deal. $100-something bucks for all summer and all those concerts in the lawn. That sounds awesome.
Exactly. And and you get the classic rock bands, and it's just such a wide variety. Billy Strings is coming in June, and I'm just like out of my mind. I'm excited. I saw him on the Grammys, and that was it. I just got into him. So yeah, and then in University City we have the Del Mar Loop, and there's a place there called the Pageant, and that's where you get a lot of like your smaller bands. So I've seen like Guster there. I've seen Bob Weir and Wolf Brothers there. Fitz and the Tantrums before they got big. I'm there a lot. I like live music. It's kind of my
nice.
thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's just super
I want to
fun.
see a video of you dancing in your
do?
to the dead. I want to if it's the dance,
Well, I'm old now.
the
I
hippie
can't do
white
it
girl
anymore.
dance that I'm thinking. Kind of like a
Yeah, yeah, right. I know. What can I tell you?
no, I love it. That's awesome. And then what about the craft food and beer scene? Every
Yes,
city's
we
kind
have
of got
some.
this
Yeah,
booming
so we have
of
some
that.
great breweries. And you know, coming from Portland, that was, you know, in the 90s was already having all these great breweries before it was like as huge as it is now. We came here and there was maybe one or two. So there's several now, and I don't go to them a lot. I just don't go to them a lot. My girlfriends tend to like red wine, and so we do places more like that. But there are some
Are
really
there
great.
wineries?
Yeah, so the wineries are outside of St. Louis. There's a couple areas. So there's the Defiance and Augusta area, which you would probably like. A family just bought, like, they're doing the $100 million renovation out there. They're putting in a championship golf course. They're building an amphitheater. They're, I believe, a nice lodge. They wanted to make it the Napa of the Midwest. So that's going on right now. And it's this little
That's
small
bold.
town. Yeah, it's really bold. And, but the wineries are nice out there. I mean, they do sell California wines and, you know, other stuff, but, you know, you see the grapes, the vines and everything. And then the Katy Trail runs through there. The Katy Trail, I mean, I don't know like all the details in it because I didn't grow up in the Midwest, but I can tell you what I know. So what I learned was that Lewis and Clark started their, I hope this is correct, their expedition on the Katy Trail, and it, you know, it helped lead them. I mean, they got off of it, but it helped lead them out west. But it's about 200, it's like over 230 miles. And yeah, you can probably tell me more things than I am able to say, but the Katy Trail goes through there. There's a nice, it's flat. It's an old railroad that they paved over. So it's, you know, it is flat, but you can take a nice little bike ride and hit some wineries. You know, it's like, I think like 7 miles each way is what I usually do. And you can also take the Katy Trail and ride your bike to Kansas City. I haven't done that. I think it takes a couple days. But I have had friends that have done that trip. Anyways.
That's where I've heard of it before. I think interviewing Kansas City people maybe have, because it
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
so-
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
but-
so you know, but you know how it is as a real estate agent. Like, you don't have that many weekends off, so I hear about. You know, it's rare that I really get to go and like have brunch at the wineries because I usually have an open house or something. And then there's another town called Herman, and that one's also seeing some, I guess, updating, whatever, regentrification. So it was German settlers that settled in Herman, Missouri. So that they tend to be sweeter wines, but there's a lot of nice bed and breakfast. They just did some like luxury tree houses, Airbnbs and stuff that you can stay in that are pretty cool. So those are like fun little weekend. I mean, Herman's a fun little like overnight kind of getaway. And then Defiance, I think it takes about 45, 50 minutes from St. Louis to get to the wineries. And it's pretty out there.
What about parks and like playgrounds and that kind of stuff? You have plenty of that kind of thing?
So we have Forest Park, which I consider, and most St. Louisans would consider, the jewel of our city. It's bigger than Central Park.
I'm glad I asked about it.
Yeah, it's about 1,300 acres. And the World's Fair in 1904 was there. The Summer Olympics in 1904 was there. And there was a Louisiana Purchase exposition that was also there. But anyway, so it's still like the World's Fair Pavilion is still there. People have weddings and events in there. Our art museum is there. Our history museum is there. There's 2 golf courses. There's an outdoor like Broadway opera theater, really Broadway, called the Muni, and every summer they have a series. That's a big St. Louis thing to do: sit out in the hot humidity and watch a Broadway play. But they built fans, so it's
Don't worry,
tolerable.
we'll blow the hot air harder on you.
But it's really, I mean, it's fun to do. It's like one of those things. People love the Muni. It's an institution. And it's just weird talking about these things because like the Muni, you know, with COVID and like everything's just been so different the past couple of years. So I have to, you know, it's part of it. It's like trying to remember pre-COVID, what did I used to like to do? We have an awesome zoo. We have, I think it's like between us and San Diego, whoever is the number one in the country, we have an awesome zoo that's in Forest Park. And everything's free. We pay for it with our taxes. So you can just go to the art museum. If there's a special exhibit, you have to pay for that. Same with the history museum. There's a boathouse at Forest Park where you can rent the little paddle boats. And there's a little restaurant, and that's very fun. I did that about 3 weeks ago. And you just sit outside on the water and eat your French fries and drink your beer and just enjoy St. Louis. So Forest Park is my favorite. Then there's Castlewood Park, which is, I guess, southwest from St. Louis. I know it's out a little further, and it's like more serious hiking. It's higher up elevations, and there's water that goes through it. And that's a good hike. And then outside of the city, anywhere from 45 minutes to a couple hours, there's some really, really nice hiking. Just back to when the Indians were here before we were. And so you can see old dwellings. There's Elephant Rock. There's so many different places. We have a lot of caves. The hiking is almost surprising sometimes. You just have to get outside of St. Louis a little more to enjoy a little more natural atmosphere. But yeah. So
yeah, most places have something. You just have to, like you said, get outside. # get outside and go look for it. Most places have some kind of outdoor
something. We have a Elk State Park. You know, you go I think it's in the fall, and you watch the elk. And yeah, I mean, again, I don't get to do all of these things because I'm usually working. But I have, I do enjoy the hiking. And that's, if I have a weekend day that I don't have to work, I'll get up early. Even if I don't have showings like 2 or 3, I'll still get up early just so I can go breathe that air, and it just rejuvenates you.
Yeah, and then we would be terrible if we missed the arch, right? Tell me about the arch. Can you go in this thing?
So you go in the arch. So they just built, because it's a national park, they just built a new museum, I guess about 4 years ago. And like this whole parkway, and there's going to be more development happening there. So the museum they redid is awesome. It's interactive. The lady that was going to move here from Philadelphia, that was her request to go to the arch. So that was part of my home tour. And so I took her to the arch, and I think the arch was actually closed, but we just like walked around the museum. They have a movie you can watch before, and it, explains how it was built. So I've only been up there once. It was when we first moved here. It was like a 90-degree day. It was before they redid it. And it was hot and humid. And you basically went underground, and it was all cement. And so I have these 3 kids, and it's 90 degrees and super hot, and you're waiting forever. And it was just stifling.
Yeah, a lot of heat with a lot of kids is not the most fun thing in the world.
And then you go up in this little capsule. It's a little rickety, and I felt like I was in I Dream of Jeannie. It's really the only way I can explain it. It was kind of that vintage, and it was very hot in the capsule. And then we got to the top, and there's these little windows, and you can look out the windows and see the Mississippi River and see where the Cardinals play. But nobody told me it swayed when it was windy. I just assumed it was it didn't do that. And I'm afraid of heights. So we get up there, and I'm with the kids. Like I said, we waited forever to get up there. And all of a sudden, I could just feel it. I'm like, why are we moving? And everyone's like, oh, it sways. And I just told my kids, have fun. I'll wait for you downstairs. And I got back in the capsule and went back down because it was just too much for me. I was like,
you chickened out. It's like when you get stopped on a bridge and it starts moving, and you're like, oh yeah, bridges move.
Yeah. It was just, I wasn't expecting it. And like I said, I'm afraid of heights. So it was a little much for me. So the kids enjoyed it, and I just waited for them downstairs.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, you got to go there and get a picture kissing your significant other under the arch or whatever.
Right? Actually, one of my favorite pictures with my kids is them leaning against the arch and they laugh because I still have this picture up, and they think it's annoying, of course, but I think it's one of the best pictures I have of them. It's very cute.
Yeah, that's great. And then there's also a Six Flags there too. So if anybody likes theme parks, there's a Six Flags there.
There's a Six Flags. Yeah, the kids kind of go through that phase during middle school. You buy them the pass, and then all the moms coordinate who's driving, who's picking up, dropping off, picking up, and then they kind of burn out. I never go to Six Flags. I can say that. It's not on. I don't think about that. But it is there. We have also this one museum called the City Museum. You should Google that. It's super cool. And this man was taking different. So it's really kind of a long story. So Washington, there's a street downtown called Washington. And before the expansion west and before New York became the garment district, or, St. Louis was that hub. So down on Washington Boulevard, it's like where hats were made and shoes were made. It was the garment district. And so as buildings were getting renovated, this man was taking like the shoe chutes and tiles and just all the stuff out of these buildings, and it's all in this museum. So if you Google it, you'll see like a bus hanging over the roof, and there's a skate park inside, and I think they have a little aquarium. It's one of those places when your kids are little, you tend to go a lot.
What's this thing?
It's just on the roof.
And you can go up in it like that?
Yeah.
It's pretty
really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So we have the City Museum. We have a kids museum. We have the National Blues Museum. We have the World Chess Museum. We have one of the most beautiful botanical gardens in the country. It's in the middle of the city, and you don't even know you're in the city. And it's special. I have to say, there's a lot of history in St. Louis. And when you're in those places where you feel the history, it's really special. It's really special. And the city does take really good care of these things. So it's really nice.
Nice. You're pretty good at the things to do, because I did bring up what the thing I shared there was 25 things to do in St. Louis, or must do things to do when you visit or something. And you hit most of the ones that were on there, I think. So we did pretty good on that. Last question before we move on to what people can get for the money there is airport. Where do you, if you need to fly somewhere, go on vacation or something?
Right. So we have Lambert National Airport, and American flies out of there, Frontier, Southwest. I'm a Southwest flyer, and then if Southwest doesn't work, I fly American. It used to be the TWA hub, and then that went away. So Southwest usually has the best direct flights. And it's from where I live, it's 10 minutes away. It's not too bad. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. That's better than a couple hours away. We have one close by, but for the good flights or for the direct flights without having to stop with a layover, you got to drive a couple hours to Philly or something.
Yeah, and even if you're like out in Chesterfield, it's maybe 20 minutes. It's not. It's as long as traffic's cooperating with you. It's 70, so you never know.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's great. And then tell everybody, if they're moving there, what are they going to get for the money? Here in central Pennsylvania, average price is $250-ish right now. I haven't checked in the last month or so. It used to be more in the $2 to $220, but
yeah, I know. And this year, oh my gosh, like it's crazy what's going on. So yeah, usually I would say $250 to $260. If you're looking for, like, I based my research that for this on like a 3-bedroom. So like if you're looking in the city, like a decent house that doesn't need a lot of work, you're probably going to be like I would say like for probably about $350, just because of the way prices have gone up so much. I mean, it used to be under $3. And you can get a beautiful historic home in the city for over $700,000. There's just a lot to go into as St. Louis, but because of the way the city was set up, we have a brewery district where like the Germans came and set up brewery, and then the French came at one point and they were the fur traders. And so like this area called Lafayette Square, it's like a very European kind of French flair. Sometimes on HGTV when they do the home with the tour thing where someone's looking for a house. In the past, it's been at Lafayette Square. So. And then there's another area, Compton Heights, where, 700 or above, you can get a really pretty Really pretty house if you want to live in the city. Then we have like the Central Corridor, which is really where I am in the Central West End. These houses were all built kind of around the like also the World's Fair. So they're these big old mansions, and the ones that are in good shape you can get for pretty much 900 and above, but mostly over $1 million. And then if you start heading west, there's an area called Clayton, and it's like it feels very urban, but it's an upscale community, and it's like one of my favorite places in St. Louis. Great restaurants. There's a lot of tall like condo towers. And a lot of the houses that are older that maybe you used to be able to buy for like $350, well, in Clayton it would have been $500, but they're tearing those down, and they're doing a lot of infill and building, houses that are $1 million, $2 million. There's a lot of that going on in Clayton. And then they're also building right now a lot of apartments. So the average price in Clayton to get a decent house, you're probably like at $525, but there's older condos that you could get into at like $250, and then they go up to over $2 million too. And then Chesterfield, the area where I used to live before I moved to the city a couple years ago, for a nice 3-bedroom, you're probably looking at like $425 and up to, over a couple million. It just depends on what you're looking for. There's a lot of new construction happening out there. So 640,000, up to over $1 million, you can get a nice new house.
So it sounds like to me Clayton's the place to be. Is there kind of like a reason for that? Is there a lot of employment there? Are the people that live in Clayton driving to St. Louis to work, or are they working somewhere else?
Yeah, so I feel bad because I'm not talking. There's so many, there's so many areas, and I cannot cover them all. But Clayton is it's the county headquarters, so the courthouse is there, so that's where all the attorneys' offices are. A lot of financial planners. Centene is located in Clayton, so there's just a very condensed area with a lot of high net worth people working. And the school district, it's like sending your kid to a private school, and we're a very school district driven city. So then there's also Ladue, which is right outside of Clayton. Like Clayton, you're going to get small lots. You're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to have like a post stamp of a backyard. Go a few minutes outside of Clayton and you hit Ladue. When I say Ladue school district, then you can get, a bigger lot, half acre. There's estates. And then the price point could really be anywhere from 600 to, multi-millions. It just depends on what you want. But for the people that I work with, they use, the school district is usually the leading factor. And so when they give me their list online and they research the schools, and then they give me the list of the school districts they think they want to be in. So usually it's Clayton. We usually start with Ladue. Clayton, Kirkwood has a really good school district, which is another suburb, and then Chesterfield, where I was. In Lindbergh, there's Webster. We have a lot of good school districts. So it just depends on what they're looking for, where they're working, and how I can make it all come together.
Yeah, and we usually let them decide because we can't steer them on school districts anyway. So you tell me where you want to go, and if you want to know what they like, go to greatschools.com and they'll tell you what the schools are.
And that's what I do. And then I'll send things from the MLS is what you'd be looking at if you move to this school district. And I just try to keep it separated and keep it as easy for them as possible. And, and when a lot of people are looking, they're talking to their coworkers or whatever. Anyway, so they come in with an idea of what they want.
Totally. And then what about acreage? If somebody wanted like a farmette, or they wanted like 15 acres in the woods or something, how far out would they have to go to get something like that? So they would
have to go at least a half an hour outside of the city, and it's going to depend on, where we're looking. And, I don't do land. That's something that I usually refer out. So that's kind of a hard question for me. So it could be 120,000. And then now, because of all the updating, all the building that's going on, like in Defiance and Augusta, which is really in the country, now these houses are, and land is going for a lot more. But I have friends who maybe go like an hour outside of the city, and they have their little farms, and I don't think they spend as much because, there's not a house or whatever. So I know that wasn't a very good answer, but I usually refer
The
it
stuff
out.
out there, like on well and septic, I would assume you have
Mm-hmm.
utilities closer to the suburban and cities
Right.
and everything, but then
Yep.
you might get into that.
Yep. But
And do you
yeah,
know
so
you can drill wells at will there? I mean, you got to get it approved, but some states you're not allowed to. Like Pennsylvania is one of the few states where you can do whatever the heck you want to. I think, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure whatever
right.
the heck you want to, drilling down as long as it's below you, you can do whatever you want to with it. But there's some states that even below you, you can't take it, or you can only take so much or something.
I'm sorry, I don't know that.
All good.
I can't even pretend.
And then what about, so here in the city, is St. Louis like more expensive in the city than the suburbs, or the reverse? Because it's not like this huge city like New York or Philly or someplace where people want to be downtown.
It's the reverse. So, we have this reputation of being a very dangerous city, and, it just depends on the pockets and the areas. I live in the city. I feel completely safe. And also the schools. So most people want to they either live in the city and they send their kids to private schools, or really the majority of them, I would say, live in the suburbs. I would say like a lot of millennials, young people, downsizers. I mean, there are families in the city, but it seems like the people that I'm usually showing are either first-time home buyers or people who want to move, their kids are out of the house, so they want to move into the city for more walkability and, just that more urban feel.
Yeah, same thing here with Harris. We have Harrisburg City, but that's where it's a good place to take first-time buyers to find a house that they don't really care about some certain things that some others might care about. Taxes are higher in our city, and there's some other minuses to living in the city, but also pluses and walkability and all that, I think, too.
Yeah, I think for young people, it's a fun place to be because there's, then you're close to the breweries and you're close. Like there's another park called Tower Grove Park. So when they did the World's Fair, they built 3 parks. So they built Forest Park, and then more in the city's Tower Grove Park, which is, they have the best farmers market. When you go there, look at the picnic areas are all different pavilions, and those pavilions reflect different countries. It's, because it was the World's Fair. So there's Tower Grove, and then even deeper into the city is another park called Carondelet. And so the people who live in the city usually tend to want to be near Tower Grove Park, or they want to be near Carondelet because they want to be near that park, and then you're, a little closer to highways and some amenities and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I just thought of something. I didn't ask you while we were in the entertainment blah, blah, blah category, but food. Are you guys known for any food or anything? Barbecue? Why do I feel like you're known for St. Louis barbecue?
I would say, barbecue, but I'd say Emo's Pizza is a very big thing here. It's a St. Louis thing. It took me a few years to acquire a taste for it. Somebody took provolone and mozzarella cheese and blended it, so there's Provel cheese on it, and it didn't agree with me in the beginning, but I definitely like it now. I think it grew on me. Toasted raviolis are huge, and like gooey butter cake is from St. Louis. But we all actually, our food scene has like really improved in the past few years too. So we have some really nice restaurants. We had 8 chefs that were nominated for James Beard Awards this year, which is not bad for not a big city.
Yeah, wow. And you did not say barbecue, so I was way off on that, but you
No,
have
there is barbecue.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think of Kansas City more as barbecue, but we do have good barbecue here. We do, but I'm a more Asian food person. Barbecue is very heavy. It's good. It's just, it is very good. We have some good barbecue.
Yeah, it is heavy, and it can make you heavy if you eat too much of it.
Well, the sides always amaze me. It's like you're eating this thing of ribs or whatever it is. Actually, this one place called Sugar Fry where I go has a really good piece of salmon. But yeah, if you're trying to eat healthy at barbecue, it just doesn't work because you get to the sides and it's just like, oh wow, like I don't even know that's going to fill me up more than the salmon is.
Right, yeah, this big bowl of mac and cheese with triple, quadruple cheese.
Everything, it's all got stuff on it.
Yeah, totally. So we'll end it out with a question that has nothing to do with St. Louis or anything to do there, but does have to do with you. So if you could do any other thing, any other profession, what would you do?
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so I think it would go back to the baking. My mom always wanted me to go to culinary school and not college because even in high school, I was baking a lot and I just couldn't wrap my head around not going to college. Like you have to go to college. So I think I would, do some of the baking, and like I would love like one of those cute little like gourmet coffee shops where you just know you're going to come in and get something really pretty and yummy, and yeah.
Would you serve lunch or meals, or just baked goods and coffee?
I mean, maybe lunch and like some kind of light breakfast. I mean, obviously not dinner, but I haven't thought that far ahead. But, sometimes you go into bakeries and I do this. It's like, wow, I wonder how they made that. like, how does it come out perfect every time? Like, I just love
A lot of them didn't make it. I just found out the place we go at the beach, we go to Cape May, New Jersey. Every summer we go to this place and they buy everything. Every morning somebody comes and brings the stuff into this place that we go every
There's
time.
a couple here that I go to and they actually make their stuff. I actually don't go to Starbucks that much anymore. I've been trying to frequent like more local coffee shops and set up shop there and work for a couple hours just to try something new. And
Yeah.
it's fun.
And I'm with you too. I'd like to own like a little cafe or restaurant or something, but I don't want the restaurateur hours. I mean, it's going from realtor hours to restaurateur hours, which are both kind of terrible.
Right.
So just do lunch, or I would just have burgers, and I would only have one kind of burger. It'd be the best one you could possibly get, but it would be like you get a burger and it's between like 10 and 1, and that's when you can get it Monday through Friday. And that's
this one coffee shop I go to, that's what they do, and they have they have salads, they have a hamburger, like you said. Casey, like a spicy sriracha chicken thing. So
I like that dream. Open a cafe or something with limited hours, or at least no
limited
dinner
hours.
time
Still get to talk to people and be social. Like, it's a good deal.
Yeah. Now tell everybody how they can reach you and read your stuff aloud, so people that might be listening can jot it down.
Okay, so you can call me or text me at 314-550-9493. My email address is ShariWhay at kw.com, and my website is ShariWhay.kw.com.
Awesome. And all the links to your socials and all that stuff you just said will be in the description, up or down, wherever you're watching or listening. You can contact Shari if you need anything in St. Louis or anywhere near there, or you can contact me if you're buying or selling a home in central Pennsylvania or anywhere on the planet. We've got this vast network of lenders and realtors and who else? Stagers and tour guides and whatever you need anywhere on the planet. If you're moving, we got them. So reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to talk to you. Thanks for watching and listening. Thank you, Shari, for being here, and say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. And I would love to show you St. Louis. It's a great city to introduce people to. That's my favorite thing. Showing people how.
And you make her go in that little thing she doesn't like at the arch.
Yeah, I won't go in the arch. I will take you there, but I will not go up.
There you go. You can try, and she'll take you for take you for some Asian food. How about that?
Yeah, maybe.